Well. Hello, everybody. I do not know who this live video will reach and who might be on seeing the notification that Happy Notes Crafts is live again. It's Martinette, and I think it's been a year and maybe 2 months since the last time I did a Facebook Live. I had been coming to you regularly on Tuesday nights. I think I was coming on at 7 o'clock for a live where I would make a card with you or other project once a week. And then life started lifing. So I thought I have some time off with the holidays, this kind of weird week in between Christmas and the New Year where I gladly have not a lot going on. So I thought, let me try my hand at this again. It's been a while. Let's see if I can remember how I used to do this. So if you have gotten a notification and you're joining, welcome back. I missed you all. I really did. It's been a lot going on in this past year in 2 months. Good things, some meh things, but overall I have to say good. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday, and I'm just excited to get back to it a little bit. We'll see how this goes. So I wanted to share with you a card. I've been really busy in my craft room. I'm trying to take advantage of some downtime, making some cards. In addition to sort of getting off my Facebook Live game, I've also gotten way off in sending my birthday cards. That's something that I tend to do, or I used to do quite religiously, if you will. And again, just like everything else, I fell off a little bit. So I thought I would take some time to get ahead of it and send out or make some birthday cards and maybe some New Year's cards. I don't know yet if I'm going to do New Year's, but you might be looking at this one saying, well, that looks like a New Year's card. So I think I might use it also as a birthday card. But anyway, I thought I would share this with you quickly. What I noticed is that a lot is changing in our sort of social media world. People are not as interested in the 45-minute, hour-long, if you will, video. So I promise I won't keep you that long. I'm noticing my own attention span for videos is also very short. Hey there, Granny Jams. Good to see you here. But my attention span for that is also much shortened than what it used to be. So I'm not going to take too much time, but I thought I'd just share this project with you. I am using a bundle called Light and Wonder, and you might notice that this is not my name. I borrowed this from Pamela Smith. Pamela is a demonstrator here in North Carolina, and several of us, I should say, not all of us, but several of us, hey cuz, attended a demonstrator retreat with Hattie and Susan, and of course I'm blanking on everybody's last name right now, but anyway, those ladies are out in South Carolina. And in our retreat packet, we received this stack of 6x6 designer series paper called Lights of Aurora. Well, I didn't have the set, the stamp set, or the dies that I'm going to show you. I didn't have all of that, but I wanted to use up this paper. I thought it was perfect for New Year's. I thought it was perfect for even some winter birthdays. So that's what I've been playing with today, trying to get ahead because, like I said, I have been way off in my card sending. So I asked Pamela if I could borrow her suite or her bundle of products, and she gladly said yes, as we demonstrators tend to do. We're very generous and we show up for our friends. This Light and Wonder bundle is on the last chance list. But what's funny is the paper is still current. The paper is not on the last chance list. So I'm just trying to use it up. And the paper is called Lights of Aurora. And it comes in 6x6 pack. You can see I've been cutting it up, slicing it up for these cards that I've been trying to make. I love it because this is on my bucket list. I want to go to Alaska or wherever, is it Greenland, I guess you can see. I want to see these northern lights, the aurora. And this past, fall, I guess, we had some glimpses of it even here in North Carolina. I don't live in an area with a nice clear view of the sky to be able to see it. And I'm so sorry I missed it. But I know that some folks were able to see it, but this is on my bucket list. I don't care how cold it is. I want to go out and see this. I feel like this is God's wonder. I feel like God is an artist for us, and among other things, but I felt like God is painting the sky with the color. And so this paper appealed to me. But I, again, didn't have the bundle. So I'm trying to make up as much as I can while Pamela has been so generous to allow me to borrow her bundle to make up some of this paper. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see if I can keep this in view. Again, it's been over a year since I've done this, so I might be like a little rusty. Thank you for your patience as I kind of get back on the saddle here, but get back in the saddle with my lives. It's just funny how quickly time has been passing me by. I was teaching on Tuesday night for my doctoral program. And that's an online class. So last semester, at least, I was not able to get on Tuesday nights because I was teaching on Tuesday nights. But anyway, we'll see. I don't teach on Tuesday nights this spring semester. I'm teaching on Wednesday nights. So I don't know. Maybe I can bring this back in some form or fashion just to spend some time with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with a Blackberry Bliss cardstock. This is my standard card, 5.5 or 4 1/4. So we are able to get, as you may recall, 2 cards out of one standard sheet of cardstock. We just cut it at 5.5, and then we score it at 4 1/4. But I'm going to cut a little bit more. So from this front flap, I'm going to just line up the edge of the card with 2 1/8 of an inch. 2 1/8, and I'm going to cut off a slice of this card. Okay, so this is a quick, nice, quick, fancy fold, if you will, that doesn't require a whole lot of cutting, doesn't require a whole lot of scoring, but it still gives you a nice effect. And I cut this down to, I believe it was like 2 inches by maybe like 5 1/8. So I'm going to glue that here. I think I'm going to turn it this way. All right. And because it is a layer, I am using my liquid glue. That has not changed. So I still have my preferences for glue and things that I like to use. One thing that has changed a little bit in my habits about card making, Stampin' Up, like most other companies, this isn't like new or unique to Stampin' Up. They have gone through, the company has gone through this thing about discontinuing or sort of like sunsetting or retiring different products. And it is difficult for me to keep up with what is current, what might be still current or retired, as we used to call it. I think now we call it the last chance list. And so it's hard to keep up. If I'm being honest, it is very difficult for me to keep up with what's what. So I have taken to this idea, I'm going to use what I want and what I like, whether it's current or whether it is retired or on the last chance or whatever. I'm simply going to use what I like to use, and I encourage you to do the same. For those of you on here who are not demonstrators, you don't know the difference. You like what you like. For those of us who are demonstrators, sometimes it's a little bit daunting trying to figure out, you know, for our classes or whatever, how do we figure out what's current and what's not. So since I've been on hiatus, a lot has changed with that. We even have what we call online exclusive cards now, or products, I should say. So those things are not available in any of the catalogs. They're only available online. So when you add together the new product lines, with online exclusives plus what we typically have, it's hard to keep up with what's going to be current and what's retiring and all that stuff. So my fellow demonstrators out there, if you feel me, let me know if you agree with that. So again, I'm just going to use what Martinette Horner wants to use, and that's okay. There are typically substitutes, like for instance, I was telling you that Light and Wonder, the bundle, is retiring. It's on the last chance list. There's usually something else out there that you can substitute from the Stampin' Up! Product line. So it's okay. It's absolutely okay if you use a substitute. I'm just sharing with you sort of the general layout and the idea, and you sub in whatever you might have in your stash at home. So that's what I'm doing. That's kind of like where I've settled with this, and I'm good with it. I am using some dies to help give me a bit more of a punch to this. So the first die that I used was this really big one in the set that I borrowed. Remember, I told you I borrowed this from Pamela. I cut out this big grove of trees here, cut it out in the Blackberry Bliss, and I cut it in half. So after I rolled it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, I cut it in half so that I could get two things of trees. And so on my sample, I used one, and then I'm using the other half to show you how I framed this to cut for the one I'm making with you tonight. So I cut down that 6x6 piece of paper just so I could have a smaller area to work with, and I just use up all my scraps. But I love the detail in this frame, this die rather. And this one is called Branching Out Dies. So I participated in a Secret Sister swap where I was assigned someone that I would send cards to, projects and little gifts, and then my secret sister would do the same for me. And we revealed in November, and my person sent me this, and I love it because the frames are nice and general. I can use this for all sorts of things. And it's one of those sets of dies where you can literally use it with just about anything. I could not find a matching stamp set to this to go with this little pine cone or these twigs or berries, and maybe there is and I just missed it. But I loved these dies, or the frames. That's what I'm after. I need to sort of increase my stash of these generic frame type things that go with just about anything. So the first thing I did was I chose a pattern, and notice on this paper, in typical Stampin' Up! Fashion, you have all the color and the design or whatever on the front side, but then on the back side, we have some solids or gradient type colors, right? So I've just been playing with this literally most of the day, just playing with different color combinations. And as you all know, the cool thing with Stampin' Up! Products is this fact that everything coordinates. So I cut out this larger, the biggest frame here, this biggest die with this sort of, I don't know what, I think this is like a gorgeous grape sort of gradient, gorgeous grape. So I cut that out using the largest die, and then I counted in, so it was 1, 2, I think it's the third one that I'm going to use to now cut out this little piece where I glued the other half of that grove of trees onto a more decorative side of that designer series paper. Okay, so I just used again my liquid glue, and I am going to cut this out. I didn't pre-cut it because I wanted you to see how I'm able to go from sort of just this mundane, if you will, tree being glued to the designer series paper, but then how this frame is going to give us a really nice effect. This dye is going to give us a really nice effect. So I might be out of the camera here. I'm just going to get it cut real quick. Hopefully you all remember how we do our cutting, if you will, with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss. But because this is just cardstock and the designer series paper, I already pre-cut, as I showed you before, the tree. And I'm just going to line this up on my platform. And I'm going to do a quick cut here. You don't necessarily need to see all that. But the way I'm framing this is I want to capture sort of like the clean edge of this. So I don't want this edge where I fussy cut in half. I don't want that to show on either side. I do want this die to capture it and frame just this grove of trees behind the paper. All right. So that's the way I'm lining it up. And to make sure I get that little stitching detail around all of it. I just think it's neat. I like the way that kind of looks. So I'm going to do a quick cut here. And again, it might be out of frame, but I'm going to do a quick roll through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Mine is still kicking. I use this thing a lot because I just love dies. I absolutely love dies. And I think, again, that's why I got so excited when my Stampin' sister, as we call each other, provided those. So look at the detail and the stitching on that. It's so pretty. It's just neat. It gives you some texture, gives you something to look at with the little stitching, and it included the stitching, if you will, on what I glued down. So that's why I wanted to make sure that happened. All right, now let me put my die up because I know I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna lose it. My desk is a wreck. I try to make sure I clean it up before I go to bed at night or before I finish up, but sometimes I fail at that. So I'm going to just glue this to the frame. And remember, this is the largest, using that gorgeous grape kind of gradient color. And then I came into the third largest one to cut out this little scene here with the trees. And I'm going to use my liquid glue to adhere this to the frame, to the larger frame. And you'll see why in a moment why I did not use dimensionals, because you know I love some dimensionals. That has not changed, but I am going to use dimensionals when I put it together. So I didn't want it to be too bulky, because I'm probably going to put this one in the mail to somebody for either Happy New Year sentiments or for birthday. I've been using this for birthday. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is place some of the dimensionals just on one side. Okay. I only want it on one side because I don't want to glue this shut. Right. This is how it's going to finish, and I don't want to glue it shut. So I am going to put just a few down this one side here. Let me make sure I'm going down the right side, the correct side. Sometimes I'll get myself a little mixed up here. Just want to say hey to everybody who's joined, and if I didn't get to say hello at first, so good to see you all joining me for a little quick impromptu live. It's, as I was saying before, it's been about a year and 2 months. I went back and looked. It's been a year and 2 months since I have been live for my stamping. So I'm glad to see you back. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to align the left edge so that when I close the card, it's going to serve as sort of like the front cover of the card. Okay, so I want it to be just like taking the place of the flap on the card, that little flap that I cut off. Okay, so I use this edge to align it, and I'm going to now finish the inside. Okay, and this is why I was also saying be careful on which edge you're putting your dimensionals, because you don't want to adhere it shut. Okay, all right. Now, what I should have done, I just noticed something I didn't do. What I should have done was do my stamping and embossing before I adhered it. I might have a few seconds of forgiveness here. Look at that. I always tell y'all to do this, like stamp first and then glue, because we make mistakes, don't we? Let's see what happens here when I do this backwards. This is one of those classic moments of do as I say and not as I do. I should have done that at first. All right, so I've missed y'all too. I really have. So I'm using my little stamping or embossing buddy here to take care of some of the sticky that might get powder where I don't want it to be. And I have been enjoying the stamp that says wishing you a year of. So I'm going to keep going with that theme. That's been working out for me here lately. So hopefully I didn't mess up too much by gluing it down with my, or using my dimensionals too fast. So let's see. Everybody hold your mouth right. Hopefully I'll get this right. Okay. Okay, so another change for those of you who are not demonstrators, current demonstrators, and you may have missed this, Stampin' Up! Is going to all photopolymer. We are no longer going to be making the cling sets, and I'm okay with that. Some people are having a hard time with that change. I'm okay with it because when it comes to words, the stamps that have words like what I'm using tonight, I can see better. I absolutely can see better where I'm stamping, okay? And I always got a lot of anxiety when it came to stamping words and sentiments with the cling stamps because I can't see. Now, because I've been doing this for 20 years, I have been a demonstrator for 20 years. Can you believe that? Talk about time marching on. I tend to get it, get my words straight even with the cling stamps more than I will having them go up the hill, down the hill, and sideways, just because it's just a habit now. But I honestly prefer the photopolymer stamps for stamping words. But I will concede that some images, the clean stamp does a little bit cleaner images for solid images than the photopolymer when you're stamping with them. And that's okay. We'll get used to it. But anyway, the packaging has also changed. So we don't have those CD packages anymore to hold the stamp sets. We have these sort of envelopes. And again, there's some different opinions about that. Personally, for me, it's going to save me a lot of storage space. So I'm okay with that too. So there just been some changes, y'all. There's been a lot going on here lately that may surprise some of you. I never thought I'd see Stampin' Up! Walk away from the clean stamps, but also it's my understanding that it costs more to produce those. All right, I'm going to emboss this, and I'm going to emboss it away from my phone. If you were following me a couple years, it's probably been about 3 years ago now, I literally burned up my phone because I was trying to emboss some, I don't know, I think it was a poinsettia. It was so pretty. I was gold embossing this poinsettia and didn't even think about the fact that this phone was heating up and burn it up. I burnt my phone. Literally had to go and replace my phone the next day. So anyway, I'm not going to do that again. You don't have to tell me twice. I'm going to do this away from the phone and get this heated up. Emboss this powder. So just as a reminder of how I did that, I used my embossing buddy to sort of get rid of some of the oil and static or whatever so that my powder would go exactly where I wanted it to go. And then I stamped that sentiment, the wishing you a year of, with Versamark. I poured on a little bit of this white embossing powder, and now I'm heating it up. And I noticed my OU in U needs a little bit more attention. There we go. That's better. Okay. So this is the technique using this embossing powder. This is what hooked me 20 years ago when I attended my first, what we then called workshop. I attended a workshop, and the demonstrator who was, sharing with us and showed us how to make cards, and we got to make cards, used embossing. And that was it. I knew that this was something that I needed to do. That's what hooked me. I wonder what hooked you as a crafter or a card maker. What was it that hooked you when you first made cards? Feel free to put that in the chat. I'd love to know what got your attention. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is, while you're typing that, I am going to stamp the inside, and I'm using, again, Blackberry Bliss and Basic Black. So, wishing you a year of wonder and light. And this is what I meant by this card can be not only a birthday card, but also a New Year's card. I like the versatility of the sayings, and I'm going to show you some of the other sayings in this stamp before I finish. But let's see, I did wonder and light. I'm going to do wonder and light again. I'm using the Blackberry Bliss. Let me ink this up nicely. But yeah, what got your attention when you started stamping or making cards, however long ago that was? What did you see that hooked you at that time? It was embossing for me, for sure. Okay, so wonder, get a nice even, ooh, nice. I like when they come out that pretty. And where is my and? Let's ink that up. It's really tiny. I'm, again, being very careful with these little tiny stamps. This is not my stamp set, so I often lose the little tiny pieces. So I've been very careful to not lose anything from Pamela's set. I want to be careful with that and respect the fact that she let me borrow it. So I got to return it the way she lent it to me. All right, and then light. Let's do light. Yes, the pretty paper, Zavelda. The paper is it. So I have continued my card classes at a local retirement community, and I have, basically trained my ladies to always expect pretty paper. As a matter of fact, when I am designing their cards each month, I always start with designer series paper as the basis for my design. Because you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with the pretty paper. And that was probably the second thing that got me with the Stampin' Up! Products. I jokingly, but not so jokingly, say that I am a Stampin' Up! Snob. I'm not really a snob in real life, but in terms of my choice in products that I use, it's the coordination between the paper and the products that I just have not seen a match for it. Nobody does it like Stampin' Up! In terms of this coordination, in my opinion. So that's my preference for that. And sometimes I just let the paper do the work. I don't have to do a whole lot because the paper is doing the work for me, which is wonderful. Okay, so this is the back of yet another pattern in that pack of designer series paper. And I think this might be Berry Burst, if I'm not mistaken. So on the back, or the little insert for the card or the paper packs, they show you, for those, just a reminder, they show you what the coordinating colors are. So I think this pink is like a Berry Burst, and you'll notice that it's also back there in the Aurora lights in this front part. So I like bringing the color all the way through the card, so you get a hint of that Berry Burst there, and you're going to get it again. And I cut this down, I believe it's 5 1/4 by 4, and then I cut my white insert down a little bit more, so this is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And so that's how I kind of do. These are typical layers that we use in our cards to still give me a chance to let the colors kind of peek out from around it, frame it really nicely, and proportionally they work. Those dimensions kind of work. So nothing earth-shattering there, but I just like to tell you what the dimensions are in case you decide to make this yourself with whatever products you have. And if you do, I hope you will share it. Please feel free to share your creations because I'd love to see your idea for the design. This design, again, I would consider it a fancy fold. It's not a traditional, typical A2 card, although the size is, the design is not, but it's not, again, something that requires too many layers. I'm layering up different papers and incorporating different colors, but this is not hard to do. This is very simple to do. So I like that because sometimes crafters will see these very fancy, what we call avid cards, meaning it's for a more experienced crafter and it feels like it's not something you can do. I like to have a mix of those, but this one is still gives you a little bit of a bang for your buck, a little jazz, if you will, but without a lot of product and without needing a lot of cuts and scoring. Some of them can get a little bit too much, even for me, and I've done this for a while. So this one's simple. I can make several of them without too much fuss. This set of gems, they're called two-tone sparkle gems. I can't even find them on the site, so I have no idea. They're Stampin' Up, but I have no idea when they were even current. They probably have retired, which is why I can't find them, but don't they match perfectly? So go in your stash, see what you have. You don't have to always buy the next new thing that comes out. I buy what I want and what I like. And Jan, to your point, you can absolutely break the bank when you're trying to keep up with every new thing that comes out. I just can't do that. And it takes away from my joy of being able to create. I buy what I like. There's some things that are just my style that are typical. I love to color in flowers so that I can use my blends. I love to do that. But this one got my attention because I wanted to use the paper and the color combination with the Aurora lights. And I really do love these different dyes. So this set, or bundle, I should say, here are the other words. So your strength inspires me. May your day be filled with. I chose to use wishing you a year of. Embrace the. Thank you. You are a. And then in this lovely sort of cursive script, we have love, light, wonder, and magic. And so I have really been playing up the wonder and light in the cards that I've been making today. I might go back and add one more strip right here just so it'll look more finished. And again, I can do that pretty quickly. Some of these scraps that I have laying around, and if that little flap is 2 1/8, I'm going to go down to 2 inches. And I know that the length of it is 5 1/2, so I'm going to go to about 5. What is that? That's 8, 7, 6, 5, and what is that? 6. What is that? 5 and what? 6. 8, 7, 6, 6, 8. So 5 and maybe, I don't know. I'm getting mixed up trying to figure out my fractions, but basically 1/8 of an inch shorter than the 5 1/2. How about that? Do the math on that for me. So I can finish off this little flap so that, again, it carries more color throughout and it just gives it a finished look. So I think I'll do that. I'll go back and do that on my other one too, just so I can give it a finished sort of look. I hope you all have been doing well. And like I said, I'm excited to maybe get back into sharing a little bit more and engage us once more. My purpose is to build community through stamping, card making, and of course sending the cards. That's what I like. It's the community that is built through this craft. I have made some of the best friends through this craft. I have also been able to engage friends that I've had from, work and life by sharing this craft. So for me, that's really what it's all about. And I have missed being able to share with you. And it's really cool to be able to hop back on. I thought, let me just try this. Let's get back on and see who's out there, who's kind of tootling along on Facebook tonight and can join me. So I'm glad you did. I'm very glad that you did. And I hope you like this card. If you make your own version of it, again, I would love to see it. I absolutely would love to see it. Okay. All right. I'm going to glue this one down and then I'm going to be done. I will have finished, gotten a nice finish to this particular card. So Facebook, in its infinite changes, there's always something new with Facebook. This has happened a few months ago. These live videos will only last for about 30 days before they are deleted. So if I can get smart, I will try to figure out how to download this video and put it on my YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel. I have not done any lives on YouTube yet, but I thought I would try it for Facebook, see what I can do to download it and put it on YouTube if you want to go back to it and get the measurements and see the ideas, okay? But it has been awesome to be back with you for a live and some crafting on a Tuesday evening. Again, it's been so long. It feels like it's been longer than a year and a couple months, but that's exactly how long it's been. And I hope you have a good evening. Thank you for joining me, and Happy New Year.